2025 was a big year for Great Southern Copper. 2026 looks like it's going to shape up to be a big one too. The company's just finished phase 3 drilling at the Cerro Negro prospect, and it looks like there's plenty more work to come in the coming months. Here to tell us what's been happening and what's going to happen, Sam Garrett, the Chief Executive. Sam, hello.
Good morning, Alistair. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too. So lots to talk about. Let's talk first about the highlights of 2025 and where it's brought you up to. So what happened in 2025?
2025 was a champagne year for Great Southern Copper, really highlighted by two discoveries at the drill face, namely Mostaza, the high-grade copper-silver discovery there, and the discovery of Maricunga-style porphyry gold at Viuda. So both those have really set the company up during that year. We had a 3 times increase in our valuation as a result of the ongoing work we've done at Mostaza and Viuda. And if you put that in context, the silver price at the time of the discovery of the high-grade copper-silver at Mostaza was, I think, a third of what it is now. So, as you say, 2026 could be a big year.
Yeah, so you guys are operating out there in Chile. How do you compare to some of your peer group in Chile?
It's something we do track, and we've noticed over the last few years that the companies that aren't really putting effort into exploration drilling, are sort of lagging behind those that are drilling. So we've definitely started to increase our performance and our profile against some of the peers, but others have shot ahead where they've gone on to announce resources and such. So in terms of the Lassonde curve, I think we're just at the bottom, starting to take off, and the others are sort of where they've identified resources. They're really starting to shoot forward. So hopefully that'll be us in the near future.
So, I mean, it's an interesting place to operate in Chile. My understanding has been that there's a myth, or at least a perception, that it's more of a big boys country, and yet you're talking about a peer group here. So what would you say to that to that perception that Chile is really only for big boys?
I'd say it was rubbish. There's no shortage of Australian, Canadian junior companies working here. Not too many UK companies, but there are a few. And within our peer, or within the peer group I track, that includes companies that are operating in Peru and Argentina as well. But there's a lot of junior activity in Chile, and it's increasing. I mean, Chile is the biggest producer and exporter of copper. So and high up there for gold and moly as well. So no, there's a lot of activity here, and what we're focusing on as our strategy, which I think differentiates us from a lot of our peers, is that we're operating exclusively in the coastal metallogenic belt, which is underexplored in my view, cheaper to operate in, and no shortage of opportunities for us. In fact, with the discovery of Mostaza early in the year, we've got the opportunity for the Holy Trinity, with high grades, near surface and near to infrastructure. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Right. So what are the plans then? I mean, you've mentioned some of the attractions of Mostaza and some of the attractions of Chile. You've got a fair wind behind you, a very favourable commodities market. What are you going to get up to this year?
Yeah, right. So last year we had, I think, 4 drilling programs we completed, which is pretty good going for a junior company, and we do that on an aggressive but efficient budget. So with those 2 discoveries behind us, obviously we're going to continue the drilling at Mostaza and Viuda. So that's going to be exciting. We've just completed a ground magnetic survey at Viuda, so we'll be waiting for the results of that to plan out the drilling. And the idea there is to, use that magnetics to target that magnetic alteration in the potassic zone for the porphyry gold. So hopefully within the first quarter, we'll be drilling at Viuda. We're also going to start drilling at the Colorado lithocap. So we've got a number of prospects there that require drilling. They're already, what we would refer to as drill ready. So that's South, Victoria, Lipa, and Megalo. So all those targets are ready for drilling. So a big year of drilling, basically. There'll be some geophysics and some metallurgy. We've got metallurgy underway at Cerro Negro. So those results should be out within the next month. And of course, we've got all the results still to come in for, the phase 3 Cerro Negro. So lots of news flow.
Absolutely. Very much interested to see what the results of that drilling will be. How much drilling actually in total do you think you will do? I mean, I'm thinking in terms of perhaps meters or number of holes or any which way you want to pass it.
Yeah, last year we drilled, I think, 4,000 meters of diamond drilling and 1,500 meters of RC. So we'll probably be looking at a bit more RC drilling this year, scout RC drilling of the new targets. So maybe up to 5,000 or 6,000 meters of RC drilling around those new targets, and then Mostaza and Viuda probably another 2,000 to 5,000 meters of diamond drilling, and Mostaza. We've already started planning for the next phase of drilling on Mostaza. So we're waiting for those permits and access agreements to come in. But that, hopefully that'll be ready to take a big drilling program by then.
Yeah, I mean, that should catch the attention of investors, all these drill results coming in. Now, let's zoom out a little bit or perhaps look ahead, zoom out in time. What do you think success will look like for Great Southern Copper, maybe in 2 or 3 years? If you're successful in your aspirations, where will the company be? I mean, you spoke about the Lassonde curve a moment ago, and so you obviously you've started traveling along the Lassonde curve, but where do you think you're going to end up, and what sort of timescale are you envisaging here?
A really good question, and I don't want to put the knocker on us by answering it in a positive way, but I always like to be positive about what's coming up. Otherwise, there's no point really being in this business, is there? But if we continue down the path with Mostaza, within the next 2 years, we should be beyond the resource stage, and looking at feasibility studies potentially, or pre-feasibility studies. That will signal a re-rating, I would have thought. On top of that, we've got Viuda coming along, and so we've got the opportunity here for multiple stacked Lassonde curves. I feel we've announced previously we've got this pipeline of drilling. We've been successful so far. So what impact having multiple discoveries has on the success of the market cap, it's going to be interesting to watch. Are we going to be credited for just one, or will we get extra credit, as they say at school, for having multiple? So yeah, I can't really say, but we'd like to be continuing to head north. It's been a good year. We've tripled our market cap this year, so if we can do that again and again, that would be clearly a success.
Absolutely. And how big do you think these projects could end up being?
Well, they're two very different types of projects. So Mostaza is a high-grade copper silver system, small in tonnage, but high in grade and obviously very high in value. But in the background to Mostaza, and we announced this late last year, our petrology results have indicated that there's the potential for more porphyry type mineralization deeper down potentially. So at the moment we're looking at Mostaza as a small tonnage, high grade system. The Viuda, on the other hand, we're looking at that as the potential for a large tonnage, medium grade gold deposit. So they're at either end of the spectrum, but the advantage they have is they're both near surface and they're both near infrastructure. So assuming we're successful, they'll both be very valuable discoveries.
Indeed, and as we alluded to earlier, a great suite of commodities in the current environment too.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going off, aren't they? I mean, I saw even tin is, over $50,000. So, everything's tearing ahead, and I'm just really excited that we've got three, copper, silver, and gold in our kit bag, and we're continuing to drill. We're continuing to be aggressive. We will continue to, we've got our portfolio. The Speculator project is a big project. The lithocap target alone is over 75 square kilometres in area. So that can hide any number of big porphyry copper deposits. So I think this year we will continue to bring in new drill targets into our drilling pipeline. Maybe a couple will drop off if they don't make the grade, but it's going to be an exciting year or two ahead.
And do you think you guys will end up picking up any more ground or licenses, or are you happy with the portfolio that you've got at the moment?
We're happy with the portfolio we've got at the moment, and we're very focused on it, but we're always looking. So, the Speculator sets a benchmark. So if something's going to come in, it's going to be something that we feel is as good as or better than a Speculator. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So finally, let's just talk about the structure of your warrants. I mean, there's a few outstanding warrants around, aren't there? How does that picture fit together?
There are a few out there, and of course, there was a few that dropped away in December. There was some 4.5p warrants that dropped away. The key issue here is that we have set these things up quite strategically to assist us with our cash flow. And what shareholders should understand or appreciate is that a significant percentage of the warrants that are out there, in fact, it's probably over 60%, are held by parties that, whilst they exercise them, they won't sell the underlying share. So we're very confident about that because we talk to our bigger partners all the time, and they want to be holders of the stock. They can see what's coming down the line. They're not going to be, and they're not going to be selling shares to pay for the exercise of the new shares either. So, so having a large block of highly invested shareholders and warrant holders only serves to help us in the future with getting more money into the tin and allowing us to continue with these drilling programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good setup to have. You guys, I suppose we should mention, you did raise a significant amount of money towards the end of last year, which is partly, I assume, why you're able to undertake all these drilling programs that you've been talking about. But surely very handy to have warrant holders out there who are not going to sell, but are going to put additional money into the company and into its exploration and development efforts.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's everybody knows we've come through. Things look pretty good at the moment market wise, but we've come through a pretty difficult 3 or 4 years where it was very difficult to raise money, and it's thanks to those core shareholders that we're still here. So they've got the benefit of holding those warrants, and they have been rewarded, I guess, by good results, and so they're going to be able to exercise those in the money, and they will keep them because now they can see what's coming on down the line.
Yeah, very good structure to be sitting on top of. So to close this out, then, Sam, perhaps you could just reiterate what or perhaps reiterate some specific news items that investors can expect in the coming couple of months.
Yes, so in the short term, we've got the results for the phase 3 diamond and RC drilling at Mostassa. We've got the results of the magnetic survey that we've recently completed at Vaiuda, that ground magnetics. We did a detailed ground magnetic survey there. We've got metallurgy results from Mostassa to be announced in the next month or so. That will be very interesting. And that leads us on. The metallurgy will allow us to quote results in, copper equivalent or silver equivalent, depending on which way we want to jump. So that'll be exciting. And then we're going to have the results of, we're going to announce drilling of new projects and all sorts of things coming on this year.
So very exciting times. Very interesting to talk to you, Sam Garrett. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Alistair. It's been great.